Hockey season is right around the corner, and there's no better way to kick it off than being at the Kraken's home opening game. Don't miss a moment of the action when you get the Kraken Home Opener 6-game pack. It includes tickets to the home opener, plus 5 other exciting matchups. Join us in the deep and experience the roar of the crowd for every hit, every save, and every goal. Get your tickets now before it's too late. Go to seattlekraken.com/ticket packs for more info. Hey Kraken fans, 32 Bar and Grill is excited to announce their new fall menu, featuring new sandwiches including the return of the fan favorite prime rib dip and introducing new happy hour offerings. You can catch all upcoming Kraken games and other big sporting events at 32 Bar and Grill, located inside Kraken Community Iceplex, the home of your Seattle Kraken.
Welcome back, and this is Nick Olczyk signing off. But before I do, I have many thank yous to give. And it all starts with the greatest producer in all of producing, the Grant Beery. Grant and I started Signals from the Deep with the help of the Seattle Kraken organization last season. 16 episodes. Guests from Hockey Hall of Famer Grant Fuhr to the Maiden Voyage original first podcast episode with JT Brown, Johnny Forsland, and Eddie Olczyk, which I go back and listen to pretty frequently when I want to laugh for an hour straight. And the entire time, Grant had an incredible attitude, worked so hard, and had to do a good amount of editing because, well, he makes me sound good. And without him, we're not on the air or being recorded. So, Grant, thank you. And I have to say, Kraken fans, you're going to be in tremendous hands and care with Piper Shaw. We all know her talent, watching her with this team for the last couple of seasons. And I know for a fact she's going to take the podcast to the next level and be able to do things that I couldn't even think of. I also want to thank the Kraken organization for allowing me the opportunity to have an outlet that gives me the chance to talk in a longer format and answer questions and have guests on that are interesting and have so much perspective to offer. And finally, but most importantly, to the Kraken fans. Hopefully, in case you had a chance to see my social media posts and you got to feel how thankful I am for all of you, I really hope that you're able to hear it in my voice now. Without the fans, without you guys, none of this works. So please continue to support Signals from the Deep, continue to support the Seattle Kraken. And for one final time for now, I want to say thank you to everybody who has supported me and my time in Seattle. You guys are rock stars, and I'm so very thankful to have been part of the Seattle Kraken organization.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate that send-off as you are on your way to Salt Lake City. We look forward to seeing you on the broadcast out there with the newest member of the NHL. What that means for us is we are in, I would say, Chapter 2 of Signals from the Deep, and it is my great pleasure to introduce to you our newest host, somebody who you are very familiar with. They've served as the rinkside reporter for the Kraken since our inaugural season. Wisconsin Badger Hockey on Fox Sports Wisconsin for 3 seasons, high school sports for that same network, and did a bunch of college athletics for the Big East, NBC Sports Chicago, BEDN, FS1. I'm sure I'm missing something in your resume there. Please join me in welcoming Piper Shaw to Signals from the Deep.
Woo! Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for the warm welcome, Grant. I'm really excited to work with you, and I'm This is such a fun platform, and I'm really excited to see what we do.
I'm very jazzed to have you here. I would say one of our best episodes we've had has been with you and Nick. It's going to be great to have you as we start this season with, I would say, a completely new direction for the show. What is your thought process on what you want to bring for our listeners?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the main things I want to bring is some energy. I want this to be a place that fans want to turn to feel more connected to their favorite team in the NHL, right? Like, I want to be a go-to source for both entertainment and information and celebrate a lot of the work that the Kraken organization does on the ice as well as off of the ice. And just continue to connect with fans and give them more content, give them more Kraken. And I love podcasts. We've talked about that at length off of Mike. I listen to a ton. So I also just think that this medium is one that is only growing, and I'm excited to continue to grow this with you.
Well, we thank you for that, and hopefully my producer duties live up to your expectations.
I'm sure they will. They already have.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much, Grant. I'm so thrilled to be on this voyage with you from the deep, signals from the deep, one could say. And also, we just want to acknowledge that this podcast is, of course, a broadcast, and we are an arm of the very new and exciting Kraken Hockey Network. I said an arm, but earlier I made the joke that we're like a tentacle of the Kraken Hockey Network.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It feels like it's right there. We have to acknowledge it. But in general, you guys, we're really excited about the Kraken Hockey Network. It's a really groundbreaking opportunity and quest that this team has been on to be able to make games more accessible to Kraken fans. So we're really excited. We've been putting in a ton of work here at Kraken HQ. A lot of really smart and talented people have been busting their tails to make this happen. But probably one of the most exciting things about all of the exciting things that are coming with this network is the fact that 96% of fans in the Kraken's viewing area, that is Washington State, Oregon State, Alaska, you will be able to watch Kraken games at no additional cost to you through existing basic cable or Prime membership. So if you're in Seattle, the games are largely on Kong TV, that is just over-the-air TV. If you need an antenna, get an antenna.
$20 on Amazon.
Exactly. And about 15 games are going to be simulcast on King 5 as well. And those more, I shouldn't say special, but they're going to have, a little bit more zhuzh to them likely. We're bringing in ESPN legendary anchor Linda Cohn to host those broadcasts for you. So that's at intermission, pregame, postgame, of course, alongside our great team, including the lovely Alison Lukan, who, spoiler alert, you're going to hear from in just a bit here. But if you live outside of Seattle, then the way that you access, or not just Seattle, but if you live outside of the Kraken's market, then the way that you access these games is the same as always. That's going to be through ESPN Plus. And I just wanted to take you through, in case you are not familiar with your local news stations, where you can find these games over the air if you are in market. So if you live in Portland, that's going to be KGW for you. If you live in Spokane, that's KREM. If you live in Juneau, Alaska, that is KYEX. If you live in Anchorage, KAUU. Yakima, KAPP/KVEW, which is the ABC affiliate. And then if you're in Eugene, KEVU/KLSR. Another thing that remains unchanged is your great radio team. On KJR, Fitz, Al, Mike Benton, they're on deck, ready to rock, ready to bring you the energy as they always do. And then also one note that also remains unchanged. 10 games as of now have been picked up by national TV, as they have always been in the past. So you're going to find those on ESPN, ABC, or TNT. So you'll need to turn to those channels for those select games. And you can find all this information on the Kraken's website. Quick Google search. We really want to spread the word about this. And one more thing that's really exciting but super nerdy for us production folks is all of the graphics, the transitions, the scorebug, all that stuff that you're going to see on the broadcast was custom built, custom made. A lot of it by our team in-house here, our great brand team here at the Kraken. And I also got to give a shout out to Ryan Shaber and Pat Brown. They are our broadcast producer and director, and they have been working their tails off with all new set designs and so much fun stuff to really bring the Kraken to life on TV and have it just oozing throughout everything that we do. So it's so exciting. And also a note, in case you are hearing this, while it's still preseason, our preseason broadcasts are going to be a little bit toned back, just a little bit simplified like they have always been in the past. So expect a full production, something more similar to what the regular season is going to look like on the final preseason game. With all of that said, all of that out of the way, Grant, you're looking at me like with a big smile.
I love it. The alphabet soup was my favorite part of that. That was great. Getting through those affiliates was a lot. So.
Well, I see people online who are excited, but they're wondering, like, I live in Eugene. Where do I get this? So we're really wanting to get the word out for you guys. So,
oh yeah. I was checking your work the whole time. 100%. Perfect.
Thank you.
But also, I share your enthusiasm about the score bug. Nothing annoys me more than I'm watching a game and I can't figure out what's going on. The score bug runs the show, and we've got a really good one. I've seen it. I'm very excited about it. So
every little detail, from shots to time on ice, all of those things have been meticulously examined in meetings. So everything will probably be a work in progress. Like with all things in hockey and sports, there's a wonderful evolution that gets to happen, but it's so exciting for us internally. And with that being said, since it's my first episode here on Signals from the Deep, I wanted to bring on somebody that is very close to me, very close to our broadcast, and I thought it would only be right if we gave fans the Piper and Alison experience.
Hello!
Alison, welcome.
I'm so happy to be here. So happy with my Piper and my Grant.
So glad to have you.
We're very happy to have you here. I wanted to start by asking you, what are you the most excited for this season? There's been so much this offseason. What are you pumped about?
Yeah, I think it's just a really interesting time. And talking to Yanni Gord yesterday, or whatever day it's already, who knows what day.
Blending.
But, a lot of guys have a lot of energy right now, and they're talking about this as an opportunity, a fresh start. And there's a lot of continuity from previous seasons, which I think is important, but then a lot of interesting change. And, you look at some of the players that are coming in fresh, you look at the players who have recommitted to this franchise to stay. And I think that everyone is looking at it as, okay, we've had highs, we've had lows, we've settled into ourselves now, and now let's start to really see how these pieces come together. We'll see what the games tell us, but I think it's a really unique opportunity for this group that wants to make something of this season.
100%. And on that note, let's dive into probably some of the really notable changes this offseason. In case you haven't missed it and you're just plugging in to Kraken Hockey this fall, totally get it. We're just going to catch you up on some of the big news. So we got to start with the coaching staff update. Coach Bilesma was on the last Signals from the Deep episode. So if you have not heard that, please go tune into that. Lots of good stuff, information, getting to know him in that. He brings with him Jessica Campbell, Bob Woods, Dave Lowry, and Steve Briere remain. Alison, you have any thoughts on kind of the coaching change turnover there?
Yeah, again, I think much like we just talked about, this is a really great combination of some new, but also some legacy here with Dave Lowry and Steve Briere sticking with the team. And players we've talked to, pretty much every player that's been in this organization knows this coaching staff minus Bob Woods because they've been around. They've been around for camp. And Dan and Jess have coached a lot of the younger players who are coming up. So I think, again, just a really nice strategic plan for the coaching staff. And also what stuck with me the most when Coach Dan was announced as the head coach was how much he talked about really collaborating with players to get the most out of them. And so I really think the players are excited about building those relationships, becoming better on and off the ice. And we'll hopefully have some cool stories about how the coaching staff is kind of fostering that in the coming weeks.
100%. I already have one that I'm really excited to see what you do with Alison. The players who've worked with Coach Dan and Coach Jess in particular speak so highly of them. Even Riker Evans told me the other day that he's like, Jessica and Dan care about you as a person. And I respect that so much. And to hear that from a young player not only says a lot about Riker, but really about the impression that they have left on him.
A notable thing with that too, I mean, we're front office staff up here, and we've seen Coach Bilesma so much more just around the office, and I think he's been working very hard to foster relationships not only with the players but also with the entire org, and that's been a very welcome change that we've been seeing. And wants to know your name. It was very funny to me. He brought his dog Duchess in the other day, and he introduced me to Duchess. It was not the other way around. He said, "Duchess, this is Grant." It was not Grant, this is Duchess. So very much, made sure that I was being introduced to the dog, and I think that's kind of shows me what kind of guy we have in our new head coach.
100%, and then it totally speaks to kind of that sentiment that Riker shared as well. I can see that if you're living under that kind of rule.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, on that note, obviously, we love to have Coach Bylsma here, but that means that we needed a new reign in Coachella Valley for our Firebirds, of course. So Derek Laxdal is the new head coach of your Coachella Valley Firebirds. He comes to us via the OHL's Oshawa Generals. Stu Bickle remains in Coachella Valley. And then Brennan Sani, he comes and joins the coaching staff down there via the WHL's Saskatoon Blades. So all the best to Coachella Valley. It'll be also really fun for fans to kind of keep tabs on the Firebirds as well, because that's a pretty big change for that organization as well. And they've had quite a bit of, turnover with those players too. So good stuff. I'm excited to talk about this.
Here we go.
We got to get into some of the players.
It's time for hockey.
Some of the players that we have been blessed with, or that have come to us over the summer, one of which I think fans have a good reason to be excited about. We're going to hear from him later in the show. Brandon Montour comes to us from fresh off of winning the Stanley Cup from the Florida Panthers. Right-hand shooting defenseman. His contract, 7 years, $50 million over that time. Alison, why should Kraken fans be pumped about this?
Yeah, I mean, again, you have a player. We talked about the value of having a core and experience. He brings that, obviously, but defense is changing in the NHL, right? We are seeing this firsthand, particularly with a player like Vince Dunn and the promise of what Riker Evans is starting to do. And when you have a player who is really strong defensively, like Brandon Montour is, and pretty much everyone on this Kraken blue line, but then can also be so effective at feeding the puck up the ice, you become basically another forward. You're creating that offensive attack more quickly, and that doesn't mean skating fast, it means moving the puck fast so it gets past the other team. So I think that ability to contribute on both ends of the ice and also just honestly play a ton of minutes, that's huge. And we know that he can contribute on the power play. That's going to be something to watch, is how that all shakes out. But again, personality for days and just a really tremendous athlete on the ice. I think that this is going to feed the way that Coach Bylsma and his crew want this team to play this year.
And on top of that, he has an excellent personality, which I think fans will love to get to know, and I think will be great for the room as well. Good for the vibes.
For sure. We're all about the vibes.
We are.
Yes.
One thing about the experience, we value the vibes.
We value, yes.
And Brandon did not come alone. Another defenseman joining him, Josh Mahura, also from the Florida Panthers. He's on a one-year deal, $775,000. I'm very excited to have him as well. He also has good vibes. He's really approachable. It's been nice to get to know him a little bit. So it's a little early to talk in general about high-level hockey stuff, but it's just, we're feeling optimistic. We're feeling optimistic. Another player, big piece, big for this group, Chandler Stevenson, which, Alison, you learned he does not like to be called Chandler.
Correct. Stevie
is
the preferred nickname.
What did he say? Only his grandma?
Only his mother calls him Chandler. I said, I will take that note. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm going to have to ask him for permission before I start referring to him on air as Stevie.
It's true, yes.
Because my go-to is typically first name.
Pulling back the curtain a little bit like we like to do.
Love you.
I said when Oliver Bjorkstrand came in for his interview the other day, his preseason interview, I was like, hey, Ollie. And he was like, oh, Ollie. And I was like...
To which I objected, because that has been a nickname that has been used about that player in the past.
100%. But I have never, to him, called him Ollie. But then he was like, no, it's nice. He's like, and I think people are going to be calling me that more because we got too many B's, Borgie and Berkey and Bjorky. So he's like, maybe we're leaning on Ollie more. But
you've both been here long enough. I think some familiarity is warranted.
I don't disagree. Yeah. I just kind of err on, the professional
right?
side, especially on air.
Yes.
But anyways, let's get back to talking about Stevie,
Yes.
shall we? Also on a 7-year deal, $43.75 million value to that contract. He's a center. Alison, similarly, what does he bring to this team? What makes him a valuable new piece?
Yeah, and again, I'm going to go back to Montour very quickly because we saw the impact of this team when Vince Dunn unfortunately went out of the lineup with injury. So the front office says, we're going to shore that up in double time. And they're doing the same thing with Stevie. I still want to say Chandler with Stevie, in that, we saw Alexander Wenberg leaves the organization and center ice was an area that wasn't maybe as strong as it needed to be. And so Stevenson comes in, and this is a player, ironically, that I have just really admired his game for forever. He's actually the player that I talked about in my screen test for this job. So it's a bit of a full circle moment. But I think it can't be understated what he does. And I asked a lot of the guys over the past couple days, we say he's an excellent two-way centerman. What does that mean? And so many different things were said, not only his skating, but his toughness, his ability in the defensive zone. This is a guy who can contribute offensively, but I think when you look at how the Kraken want to play, supporting the center ice position as we look at Matty Beniers doing what he can do, potentially Shane Wright coming in, Yanni Gord, of course we know what he brings. I think this really solidifies that middle position, and I'm tremendously excited to see what he's all about.
I would be tremendously excited to also see that clip of you in your screen test talking about him, and maybe we can do like a compare and contrast someday of you breaking down a Chandler Stevenson play now.
We'll split screen. That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's secret bonus content that just the experience gets to hoard. I don't know. We'll see. So on that note, not only do we have new players, but we have some really exciting extensions that came over the summer as well. We got to start, obviously, with Matty Beniers. Everybody was waiting on this. We were sitting at the edge of our seat. Turns out it's 7 years. 7 years, $50 million. What do you guys make of that deal? That's a commitment to this player, and that is a commitment from this player to this organization.
What I like about it, obviously the player is a separate part of what I'm going to say here, but with this much time, this much term, you look at that dollar amount, and some fans might say that's a lot now, but the expectation is that year over year the cap is going to go up. So when I look at dollars, I actually like to look at it as percentage of the cap. And so in 4 or 5 years, this is going to be an even smaller percentage of the cap than it is now, which means it's a really nice value for this team, and the player gets security. And Matty told us after he signed this, he said he doesn't love the business side of the sport, of his job. So I think for that reason, too, this is really going to help him continue to be fuller in terms of what he wants to be. And again, you look at a Chandler Stevenson coming in, there's going to be support both in practices and in games in terms of modeling how to improve little things. And Matty, we wrote about this when he signed this extension. Sneakily, this guy has upped his faceoff win percentage by, I think it's almost 7 or 8% year over year. So Matty is making strides, and I personally expect a really nice rebound season from him, particularly offensively.
I think his teammates do too. We had some of the guys, Jared McCann, Jordan Eberle, just come in and volunteer those thoughts as it, related to Matty. So love to see it. Fingers crossed. Big commitment. We're excited for it. One of my favorite times of Kraken hockey, Alison, is always Tolvi time. Ellie Tolvanen.
It's always Tolvi time.
I love when it's Tolvi time. Sometimes it's unexpected and it's clutch, and we love Tolvi time. So 2-year extension for him, $6.95 million value there. Ellie Tolvanen, what's he bring to this team?
I will tell you this. This is, again, I'm not saying this just because we work for this team, but this is one of the best waiver claims, I think, in recent NHL history. Ron Francis did an excellent job here. The coaching staff lets him to kind of sit with the team to get really comfortable with the systems, then brings him in at the beginning of the calendar year, and he just takes off. And Jordan Eberle, this was a player unprompted. When he was talking to me, this was a player Jordan Eberle brought up immediately as how much he can bring, his underrated shot. When this extension was announced during Dev Camp this summer, a cheer went up from the fans, really loud. And, I think this is a player who's endeared himself to his fans. And again, sneakily good offensively, but we don't know where he'll play this year, but he has played a lot with Yanni Gord and Oliver Bjorkstrand. so they can combine that grindy play that then creates offensive opportunity. And I just love that about Tolve for sure.
I was also told this week that Ellie is one of the best on the team at getting under his teammates' skin, that he's really good at poking and prodding, particularly one Yanni Gord, but in general.
Yanni said that about Bjorky too, so maybe Yanni's just chirping his line mates.
I can see Ollie also.
Line mates. Yeah.
Maybe he's just easy to get under his skin.
He's trying to deflect, and maybe he's the one that's getting under everybody's skin.
He's getting ahead of the narrative there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I imagine that this one was very exciting for you, Alison. Big Cat, going to continue to be on the prowl for the Kraken's defense. 4 more years, $21 million value to his contract. Adam Larsson, you love to see it, a defensive backbone for this group.
I mean, the only person who might be more excited than, well, there's a lot of us who are excited, but the person who might be most excited might be his partner, Vince Dunn. These two are just so close, and it's really special. We get to see the two of them interact, and they're really good friends. They've really brought out the best in each other's games. And while we tried to capture a little bit of it in an article last season that I tweeted out again when this extension was announced, but I don't think we can understate how much this player is revered and respected in this room. And it's not just because of all the stuff we don't see that the team keeps to themselves, as they should, but also because of how he prepares for the game and plays the game. And so I think that contribution, both in terms of tangibles but intangibles, makes him really, really valuable. And he's talked about how much he and his family love it here in the area. And again, as this franchise continues to grow, having not just good players, but players who want to be ambassadors for this organization, I think is just a massive get. And again, you look at players who, and these names, they're all easy to say good things about, who have said, yep, I want to be here, I want to stay here, and I'm committed to be part of winning here. That's huge.
100%. And on that note, some of these long-term contracts, you look at, 7 years for 3 of these players, 4 for Larsson. What did these signings tell you, Alison, about the front office's priorities?
Yeah, I think one of Ron Francis's best traits is his patience. You can look at his ability to not, be trigger happy, to really take his time with evaluation and really strike at the right moments. We talk about the Tolvanen waiver pickup. We think about back to the Bjorkstrand trade, taking advantage of a team that had some cap crunch and getting a tremendous player who's paid off here. But I think what we're seeing now as you start to fold in some of these bigger free agents is that the front office is saying, we are still building, and we are going to keep building our young players the right way, but we are also committed to improving the right now. And I think that's a really valuable balance, and they've been able to put themselves in the position to make these moves thanks to their patience leading up to this time. But they're saying now it's time to get better and better, even as we wait for our youth to continue to push from within.
And how do you think these signings address some of the concerns that Kraken fans had expressed at the end of last season?
Yeah, and we hinted at this a little bit. We saw with injuries taking parts of the lineup out. 2 years ago, part of what helped that team be so successful, first and foremost, obviously their talent, but was they were mostly healthy. We didn't have a lot of injuries that playoff year. Injuries last year and maybe some moves showed us maybe what this team wasn't as deep in skill-wise as they needed to be. And so the front office, in my opinion, reacted to those things and also, again, makes a statement in saying we are committed to getting better right now. So I think that this is a good way to say we heard that we weren't where we needed to be. We also saw what needs to be better or maybe we need more of, and they directly address that, and that's impressive to me.
How do these signings and these extensions bolster the special teams units for the Kraken?
Yeah, this is going to be fun to watch, right? Because Jared McCann told us at the end of last season that they were starting to change some things with how the power play moved, specifically on the ice. Brandon Montour comes in. He can contribute on the power play. Chandler Stevenson can play in a lot of areas as well. So we've got some new bodies that might give opportunity to themselves, but also other players because of what Montour and Stevenson can do 5-on-5 as well. Then we've got new coaches, and what are they going to bring systematically, and where are they going to put players, and what are they going to do in terms of that movement we talked about? Stu Bickel, who's going to stay with the Coachella team, was doing some really exciting things on the penalty kill. So do some of those philosophies trickle on up to the NHL now? So it's going to be about opportunity, it's going to be about strategy, and it's going to be about some new players who can contribute as well.
Related to that, when I was talking to Will Borgen earlier this week, I was asking him about the Larsson extension and, for their D-core, how that kind of pumps them up. And Will said something that I thought was very kind coming from him. And he's like, Adam's somebody that I really like to watch on the penalty kill. I just sit and I watch him and I watch how he works, and I want to be that level of consistent at killing penalties. So obviously we know the Big Cats game on the PK, super consistent, but I just liked that little note. I thought that was nice. It's always nice hearing that. So you mentioned Coachella Valley a little bit as well, young, upcoming talent. Just who stands out to you in terms of the future of the Kraken?
Yeah, I think, and again, what's important to remember is people can be exciting and stand out and still maybe not yet be at the NHL level. So that's what's fun about going to Dev Camp in the summer and following the draft. Obviously, Berkeley Catton has looked really strong. I think it's going to be really interesting, and these are names that Kraken fans already know, but Ryan Winterton and Shane Wright did not have to go to the prospect tournament that the team played in LA. Kind of a vote of confidence of where their game is. Still a lot to figure out, but that's a really nice sign in terms of development. And I think of my great colleague Bob Condor, who was in LA. He wrote tremendous capturing the moments in the game and also some of the players. And, he talked about Andre Loshko just having a really strong tournament, and Jagger Firkus continuing to show us that offensively he can contribute, still rounding out his game. And I must say, another player that I am really excited to talk about is, there's Nathan Villeneuve, who's got a little bit of an edge to him, and then Yanni Newman. This is a big kid, comes over from Europe at the end of last season, and that is a shot. That is a shot.
Yes.
So what he can do, I'm really curious as how his game will evolve and what's going to be his first pro season in the AHL maybe to start, and see what happens from there.
And that when you talk to other prospects and they're already aware of him, as they have told me voluntarily, they bring him up. That's a vote of confidence, especially when you're talking to teenagers.
For sure.
So much to be optimistic about, whether it's the Coachella Valley Firebirds and the future of the organization, or just right now in the hockey that we're about to get to see. I'm jazzed. Plus the Kraken Hockey Network into the mix.
So much stuff. The vibes are good.
The vibes are currently high, in case you can't tell. But Alison, thank you very much for joining me for this episode. Grant, thank you as well. And on that note, we're going to toss it to your introduction to the bright and shining personality that is Brandon Montour. Enjoy. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So we wanted to keep this conversation, this interview, a little light, a little fun, maybe shy away from the hockey talk right out of the gates here. And of course, Alison Lukan is here with us as well. So one thing that I love about the Seattle Kraken and the Seattle area in general is that there's a real love for music in this city. We know that you have a history of locker room DJing, but what are your go-to genres? What is your go-to kind of music away from the locker room?
I kind of change it, to be honest. Obviously there's a lot of rap. I tend to, gravitate towards rap in the locker room, especially before games. Depending on the guys too, there's Europeans that like, there's Russians that like Russian, or like not Russian music, but types of music. Swedes that like, Swedish House Mafia. Finns that like, techno. So it kind of varies, but teams are usually the same. But kind of everything, to be honest. I don't have a specific favorite. Just kind of something light and easy. Usually, it's funny because usually wherever I am, I'm tending, even at home, I have music on in the background or something. But my genres, they vary.
Do you have any favorite artists?
Like Lumineers. I like that type of music. Then you can go to rap, like Lil Baby, like, it changes. Like I listen to, my dad obviously is a big fan of the Beatles. Like I'm not afraid to listen to so it changes.
Do you have any love for grunge music or rock music at all?
Well, I know that's a big thing here.
Yes.
That's something my older brother, he probably likes that more. But definitely I would love to get involved in, not much of a screamo. And I don't know how much that is here, but, like Nirvana, who else is from here?
Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam, like that's, I could listen to that. Macklemore, like that's a little, he's from here, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, I'm more than happy to listen to any of that type of music.
What was your first concert?
Ooh, that's a long time ago.
Good. That's awesome.
I don't know, actually. Like, first one, that's tough. I don't know. Maybe like a Coldplay, something like that. I don't know. There's a lot back home in the summer, and we'd go to them, every week. Wednesdays, weekends. So I've been to plenty. I've been to a lot of Post Malone. That's a good artist.
Are you a Tragically Hip fan?
Tragically Hip, yeah, absolutely.
Favorite song?
I don't know. You have to give me a list here.
Oh, I can't give you a whole. I'm not as dedicated.
Yeah,
I'm on the.
neither
I'm in
am I.
middle
If I
tier.
saw them, I couldn't think of if you said one, I'd probably know it, but I wouldn't even know one off my hand here.
I think everyone knows 10 Mission Cap, right? That's the one everyone knows.
50 Mission Cap.
50 Mission Cap. Thank you.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Great band though.
Yeah.
Do you have a most memorable concert?
Most memorable, maybe Post Malone. We got to hang out with them. A group of us got to hang out with them before the concert. So to kind of experience, it's actually if I wasn't a hockey player, it'd be cool to kind of be that big, and kind of you get in awe, especially with these guys that go out there and perform in front of thousands of people, and it's just you up there. I mean, you might have a band, but it's like, for him, it's just him singing, and he kind of runs everything. Coldplay, same thing. But to kind of experience what he's all about beforehand, and then he kind of just changes into a completely different human being. It's pretty cool to see. So, I mean, that's probably a good one.
What was he like?
I mean, I don't know. I can't really, crap on him too much, but he was playing like a lot of beer pong.
That's what he's known for, though. That's his brand.
Baggy, like sloppy pants, bare feet.
Casual. Yeah.
I think just the way he looks is the way he kind of is, Yeah.
So this takes us to a very important question that is Post Malone adjacent. And we accept all answers. There will be no judgment. Your thoughts on Taylor Swift?
I like Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Obviously she's got mixed reactions, I guess, but yeah, I mean, she's so big and has so many fans, but I liked some of her music for sure.
Any favorites, or maybe just
I
a casual?
I don't know if I have
listener?
a favorite one. Yeah,
Valid.
I'm just a casual. If it's on, I'm not quickly turning it off.
Yeah.
Obviously she's bigger. I mean, seems like she's bigger, obviously, because she's with Travis Kelce, but
or Travis is bigger,
or
because
both. I mean, or you
her.
just hear. Yeah, that's what I mean. You hear more about it.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Because she's got to be the biggest in the world, I would think, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm not changing her music if it's on.
Solid.
Transitioning a little bit.
Okay.
What's your relationship like with one JT Brown?
So JT, we were on the same team in Anaheim a year or two, but he actually sat beside me on the planes. Did he tell you guys that one?
He gave us a hint.
He gave you a hint.
He said we should ask.
Yeah. So we were pretty close. Obviously, I was a younger guy. He was kind of mixed in his career. Found a good spot in Anaheim, played. Had some good teams, but obviously you guys know him. He's a great guy, great family, and it's good to kind of see him doing something. It's funny now that I'm still young, but a little older, and guys that you played with, Stu Bickle's another guy that's a coach, and I played with these guys, so to kind of see what they're doing outside of hockey is pretty cool.
JT did tell us there was a certain game you used to play on Switch a lot. We are big Switch aficionados as well.
So that was the thing, is like I'm not much into video games. I know that's one of his passions, but he would always be playing Switch. So I obviously had to get one, me being younger. So we were playing, I don't even know, like basketball. But yeah, you'd battle. We had a lot of battles. It's going from Anaheim, especially even here, or Florida, you get long flights. So that's easy to pass time. And me and JT obviously had fun doing that.
We have come to know and love him. We love him. Loves to debate anything. How would you describe JT? What's his trademark behavior or trait?
Yeah, I mean, he's good too, because he's not one that you're gonna like fight with. It's like an easy bickering, But yeah, obviously JT knows his stuff, and it seems like he knows a little bit about everything.
He would agree.
Oh, he certainly would agree. He's got a lot of opinions. Going back to the question about the Switch, are you familiar with the game Mario Kart at all?
Yeah.
That is a very popular game amongst your teammates, particularly on the plane. So do you still have that Switch?
It might be, but I won't be probably a part of that. Okay. It seems like more guys talk about playing video games on this team. But yeah, maybe someone convinces me to get back on it. I don't know. I'm more like just find a new TV show.
Do you know the game Super Talk?
No.
So Yanni introduced this too. It's kind of like Parcheesi, but it's like a board.
It's very unique.
It's a
Yanni
French game?
No, it's actually.
I have no idea. It's very bizarre.
But he will introduce you to it.
Okay.
It gets very competitive from what we understand.
Is it like a card game?
It's cards, but also
It
like
almost looks like cribbage kind of too, in a way, if you're familiar with cribbage.
there's a board with balls that move around and people cheat. And
There's definitely an article on it online somewhere.
I wrote it.
Yes,
many moons
so.
ago. Yeah, you
Yes,
can tell how
but-
much I retained.
Yeah, I've never been invited to play that game with them on the plane. But Mario Kart, I've been in a tournament or two.
Oh, you're getting there. Okay.
I don't know. Oliver was like, yeah, sure, Piper. I was like, I don't know what's going on with my account. And he's like, okay, that it's your account there. I wanted to ask you, what's the significance of your jersey number, if anything?
So when I first started playing junior hockey, it was one number that kind of just came to me, really. And then I've had that number, luckily, pretty well my whole career. I went to school, and they had numbers 1 to 30, and they told me that I could, they could customize 1 to 62. I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy, so I can't be coming in new and like having this odd number, So I just changed to 26. So if I was never 62, it'd be 26. And yeah, I just kind of looks good on the back of the jersey, I think, and I'll try to wear that, for the rest of my career.
Yeah. What's your ideal way to spend an off day on the road?
On the road, I like to get out a little bit. Kind of, obviously, hopefully it's nice out. Kind of just see what the city has to offer. I think I've been in the league and been to these cities long enough where I kind of know what they're all about, or kind of spots that I like, or little things like that. But I'm not one to kind of sit in your hotel room and kind of marinate there all day. So I like to get out and about and kind of see what's going on.
Do you have any favorite spots, any restaurants, or like go to, like when I'm in that city, I gotta go there?
No, probably not specifically. Every city seems like they, have a new restaurant or have a really nice restaurant come up, every year. So it's nice to kind of go to different ones for sure. But I'm one to kind of try to get a big group, like we've, in Florida especially, like, and not too many teams do that, but like we'd go in with 12, 14 people every time. It's
That's awesome.
So I'm one to kind of gravitate, like, let's go, let's get a big group. Dinners are a little bit longer, but yeah, that's how we kind of roll.
Would you consider yourself somebody willing to gather that group? Like, will you send out the text and organize
Absolutely,
it?
Yeah, for sure.
The team chat will be lit up, is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 2 dogs. One's a mutt, but one's a golden doodle. I feel like every hockey player is getting a golden doodle. Is this a thing, or is it just?
I don't know. We like the dog obviously because he doesn't shed. It's tough with those too because they got allergies. Mm-hmm. He's got allergies, so he sheds because he bites his hair off. Poor guy, yeah, but he doesn't shed. But seems like a lot of people have golden doodles for sure.
Yeah,
he's he's almost 5 years old now, so we had him for a while and. Very energetic for sure.
Okay, well, and your thoughts on cats?
Not a big cat guy.
That's cool. No. We allow it.
I'm not a big cat guy. My younger brother is. He has 2 cats, and I've never been to his apartment, but I just joke with him saying because he's got cats. I'm like, I can't believe we got one of us that's a cat guy. Come on, I love my cats.
Can you introduce our fans to your dogs? What are their kind of energies and their names?
Yeah, so the older one's Ginger. She's a mutt, mix of Vizsla, medium-sized dog. She's about probably 40 pounds, 45 pounds, but very, very, high alert. It seems like when you take her for walks, you don't really want to take her for walks because she's scared of everything. So if you kind of make a subtle move, she'll jump, or like she's like always looking. So luckily we have a backyard that we can just let her run out there. But she'll chase balls all day. And then the other one, he's, a little younger, and that's Libby, short form for LeBron.
Love it.
Yeah, and his staple actually is ever since he, came to us, I've always, went to the, groomers and made sure he had a mohawk.
Oh, love that.
So he's known for the, the mohawk. He always has the mohawk. I'll have to show you guys pictures one day, but again, he's smaller. He's about 30 pounds, but this guy is not afraid of, a dog that's 100 pounds. It's annoying because it's like his show or no show. It's funny because it's like Ginger's my wife's dog, our dog, but he gravitates towards her, and Libby comes to gravitate towards me. And it's funny because it's like when you have a dog, he kind of like is you, So Libby's like me, and Ginger's like her. It's funny, but great dogs.
I am curious to have Libby meet Jared McCann's dog, because Jared McCann has a corgi named Cheddar, who is very popular among Kraken Nation. Yes, very popular.
Yeah, so Libby's annoying because once you get to know him, it's easier, but like he's always like in your grill, like not like any dog. He's just annoying, And he's like, get away from me, but he's like, no, like this is my show and not no one else's.
You compared this dog to yourself.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, okay,
maybe I explained that a little wrong, but he's never backing down, which is annoying sometimes, but he's a good dog.
You could be a pest on the ice, though.
Yeah,
100%.
Maybe that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
And you played lacrosse as well,
Yep.
right? What position did you play in lacrosse?
So it's box lacrosse and
Okay.
More offense, but it was transition. I was always one to be in shape and be able to run a lot, so I never really came off the floor. I was just offense, defense, and played my whole entire life. I was actually drafted in 2014, and I played that summer, which I probably shouldn't have, but finished off my last season there, and have players or have buddies that still play in the professional level and do well, and it's nice to see and kind of stay connected through them.
Yeah, I used to play many moons ago.
Nice.
I was center, but I was nowhere near as good, I'm sure, as you.
You mentioned your wife and your dogs, but what has your journeyhood and fatherhood been like?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been obviously it's nice to kind of our family growing, and we have a baby girl coming soon. But it's nice to come home, especially if it's down day or an up day, or the team's doing bad, or don't matter what's going on. You always come home, and now that he's starting to kind of react a little bit more and growing, he's always smiling. I could say he's got somewhat of a similar personality to me, and seems like he's always in a good mood. So, it's crazy, obviously, how time, your life flies by, and see them grow so quick.
If there was one thing that you would want Kraken fans to know about you, what would that be?
Just that I'm easygoing. I think very light, always in a good mood, and I think that's what I bring every day.
We were talking because, we're getting to know you, and your nickname in the room is Monty, correct?
Usually, yeah.
Usually?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So here's a question. We know hockey culture, right, is you add an ER or a Y to the end of a short. Why would we not maybe explore changing nicknames like to what someone does, like your shooter or your dasher or your, how can we shake up the hockey nickname history? Or should we leave it alone?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's whatever is easiest, I think, I think it's just, like I like Josh, like Mahura's is just Muzz.
Muzz.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And I call him Muzz Turd. It's like, but it changed. I mean, I think it's just whatever's easiest with guys, and it's fun coming to new teams too, and you kind of make your own nicknames to guys, and I think that's a big thing for me, is I am always coming up with some sort of nickname for somebody. So I'll definitely have something new with these guys.
Now, if you don't like, for example, like Oliver Bjorkstrand has acquired quite a few over his career, are you allowed to say, I don't like those two, I like this one? How do you steer it towards the nickname that you like?
I mean, especially being a European, I think he seems like he's more on the quiet side. So if he doesn't like a nickname, I'm sure he's not saying anything to
He's
anyone.
a little sneaky.
He's
sneaky, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, see, that's something that I'll learn, but just speak up and just tell them that that's not what you want to be called, I guess.
You said you have other nicknames. Are they shareable on a podcast?
what people have been calling. I mean, big one is Monty, obviously. Monty Kid Fella is another one, obviously.
Sure.
Monty Kid is a big one. Shane O'Brien, the Missing Curfew podcast. He started that.
Okay.
When I actually played with him and Stu Bickle in San Diego, he started Monty Kid. So those are probably the bigger ones.
Solid.
Maybe we'll have to come up with our own podcast nickname for you.
I like that. I like
There you
that.
go.
That's good.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us for this show. We're so happy you're here. We think Kraken fans are very happy that you're here, and this was great. Thank you.
I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you so much.
Allison, what a fun interview
What
with
a
Brandon.
blast. We've had the opportunity to talk to him a couple times leading up to this interview, and he's just really been a delight. We know he's going to be awesome on the ice, but I think this is someone who's just really going to be a pleasure and great energy around the team.
Absolutely. I think that he's somebody that fans are going to enjoy getting to know as a person, as a human. Obviously, a ton of personality, super vibrant guy, but also such a skilled player. So what a delight. That was great to have him. Allison, thank you so much for being here for this. It feels like it's a special edition. It's
a
just
big
an edition,
day.
but it does feel like it's a big episode.
It's your first day, so
True.
we'll call it that.
We're dropping the anchor on a new adventure.
True.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
And as I always notoriously like to say to you on air, Allison, thank you for your insight as always.
It was an experience.
Love it.
All right, we will see you all here for our next episode of Signals from the Deep. Please don't forget to rate, subscribe, give us a review if you're enjoying the show, and come back because we're really excited to continue to bring you some entertaining and informative Kraken content.
Every 2 weeks now.
Every 2 weeks.
We're doing this every 2 weeks. You can set your watch to it.
Yeah, Fridays. We'll see you here. Signals from the Deep, signing off.
Thanks, y'all. Signals from the Deep is the official podcast of the Seattle Kraken. Hosted by Piper Shaw and produced by me, Grant Beery. Music by Benny Drawbars. Have a question for us? Send an email to signals@seattlekraken.com or call the hotline at 206-279-7810. Your message could be featured on an upcoming episode.